get God? Or not?
Dio, get God. Get God. Caturo Dio. See, yes, I did try to capture God in a little painting I did a few years ago.
Seriously? Wow. Seriously? Where?
On ceiling, I did try very hard to capture God, but...
But you filled.
But I failed, yes.
You filled and failed.
Fail?
You failed, naturally. It's not your fault. I mean, it is God we're talking about here, right? The infinite one. I mean, you can't really expect to get anywhere near infinity with a little bit of paint and plaster. You failed because you filled. You filled in too much with your mind, your talent, your genius.
Are you an art critic or just a cruel fellow?
Neither, I hope. I'm sorry if I seem rude. Look, let me try to make my point in terms of what's carved in stone.
Ah, stone. This is something I understand.
The book of Leviticus records how God asked the children of Israel to walk in my decrees and keep my commandments.
Sim preceptis meis ambula veretis.
Preceptus, precepts. Okay, I said decrees, but precepts is also a good way to translate the Hebrew word chukim. The fact is, there is no adequate way to translate this word.
Precepts, commandments, laws, it's all the same thing, no? Synonymy?
Not quite synonymous, no. In Hebrew, the various terms for the mitzvot, the so-called commandments, actually entail important distinctions. For example, the term mishpatim generally refers to a type of commandment that has some discernible logic or sense to it. For example, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not worship idols, thou shalt set up courts of law.
I see. With this, you can get God?
In a sense, yes, you can get God or get what God is getting at. And by contrast, the term chukim refers to a type of commandment that is beyond logic, beyond any obvious sense.
I see. Commandments like don't eat a porchetta.
Sure, that's a good example. In fact, all the kosher laws are chukim. Not to eat pork, lobster, rabbit, meat cooked in milk. Also, all the sacrificial rituals are chukim.
There are many such ritualistic commandments, yes? But isn't this what makes it so difficult to accept these rituals, these chukim? They are without reason, without logica.
Well, they're certainly very difficult to accept on the basis of reason.
But what other basis is there?
The word chukim itself tells us the etymology of the word chukim. And this is where stone and sculpture come in.
Ah, stone. This is something that I understand.
The word chukim comes from chakikah, which means carving, engraving, inscribing.
Ah, so the chukim are written in a stone.
Very much so, yes, and not just in a literal sense. When you write something on paper with ink, the ink is superimposed onto the paper, it's added to the paper. But when you engrave words into stone,
Come 10 comandamenti.
like the Ten Commandments, right, when you engrave words in stone, nothing is added to the stone. On the contrary, the words are subtracted from the stone. Stony material is removed in order to reveal the words.
Que meraviglia! This is exactly what happens in sculpture. You know, ordinary people believe that a sculptor sees a block of marble that he finds in nature with its natural shape, and he imposes his own image from his own imagination on top of the marble. But this is totally wrong, ignoranti, plebei. No, in reality, a sculptor sees the figure trapped inside the marble, and he works to liberate it from its captivity.
Wow, that's so beautiful. So the sculptor is a kind of liberator.
Esattamente. And sometimes, it does not work. The sculpture is a failure. Why? Because the figure inside the stone does not want to be liberated.
That's a beautiful notion, but just to clarify, there is one very important distinction between the way a sculpture is trapped in the stone and the way that words are carved out of stone. The figure fills the stone, whereas the words are actually the hollow spaces in the stone.
Fills the stone. Is this what you said about failing because of feeling?
The chukim are like hollow letters engraved in stone. These are the divine precepts, the divine decrees that cannot be filled in with any reason or logic.
The mind, the intellect needs to be empty.
The intellect is like raw material that needs to be carved out, and not just the intellect per se, but the deep personal attachment to one's intellect, the pride one takes in one's intellect, the degree to which one identifies one's very self with one's intellect. All of this is material that needs to be removed in order to make the words of God legible in the stone.
So I cannot connect with God via my intellect?
You can with the mishpatim to some extent, but the chukim, and every commandment, when you dig deep enough, is a chok. The chukim represent the most profound dimension of our relationship with God, a dimension far too profound for the finite intellect to grasp or really appreciate. Removing the intellect means unencumbering our intimacy with God.
As if we were the hollow letters inscribed in God himself?
You know the angel Michael, right?
Angelo Michele?
You know what the name Michael means, right?